You would tell me before, and perhaps you could describe to the audience how you developed the story of Crash and what attracted you to look at the effect of race on different stratums of society.
I've been carjacked, which I guess I told the story before. So I'd been carjacked 10 years before, and I woke up in the middle of the night thinking about those two kids, and so I got up and wrote it down because, as I said, if you have an idea in the middle of the night, you know a couple of things. First thing is, if you don't get up and write it down, you'll forget it, but you'll always tell yourself that you remember it. And if you don't get out of bed and write it down, you will have forgotten in the morning, and it will be the best idea of all time that you've forgotten. And this happens to me all the time. I forget the best ideas of all time. So I got up and I started writing, and I was fascinated in Los Angeles as how I'd lived there for a long time, and you never connect with people. You just don't. And I'm fascinated by the idea of how we affect each other, how strangers can affect each other with barely knowing each other. How you can drive by somebody and you know, cut them off, and they flip you with the finger, and you yell something back at them, and you go right and they go left, and all you know about each other is that you're both assholes. That's all you know. But I said, what happens then to that person when they go left? You know, do they, because they're all upset, do they get in a car accident or something? Or do they see a car accident and save someone's life? This person who you already know. And I was fascinated by the way that as Americans, we prejudge everyone. I'd done a series a few years ago called Easy Streets, a cop show. And I'd done that because, and it was the same reason I did Crash, that was inspired by the first Iraq War. I do a cop show because of the Iraq War. But because at the time, my friends, all my good liberal friends, were coming and saying things like, you know, we should invade Iraq. And I say, why? And they said, well, because, you know, it's that guy, Saddam Hussein, real villain. I said, sure he is. Sure he is. He gasses his own people. He does a horrible guy. He's a horrible fucking guy. But why him? Why not, say, some of the dictators we support who slaughter their own people? Why not invade them? Couldn't give me an answer. Well, the answer was because he looks like a villain. You know, he has pockmarked skin, darker skin than we do. He's got a big nose. Looks like a villain. We should invade him. And so we can look at that and go, villain, hero. And we know that. And we're totally fine with that. I said, at the time of Easy Streets and then later on with Crash, I said, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to do a story which you never know. I'm going to convince you that he's a hero. And then the next thing I'm going to do is convince you he's a villain. And then as soon as you're absolutely convinced he's a scum of the earth, I'm going to convince you he's a hero again. And then a villain. And so I didn't know if it was a film when I finished writing it. For the story, I didn't know if it was a film. At first I thought it was a TV series. But even that, when Bobby and I finished the screenplay, I had no idea if it was a film. Or even a screenplay. Because it didn't follow the classic structure of a screenplay. And I know story structure, it didn't follow it. And when I finished shooting it, I didn't know it was a movie. I figured if people paid $10 to see it, it was a movie. But to me, it was like a really sick social experiment. I'm a very disturbed human being, and I like to mess with people. And you like to have an effect on people. You know, you like to do that, and that's what I sort of live for. And I remember after screening here in New York, it's a small film, we have to take it around, you know, and do a dog and pony show everywhere you go to get attention. Did a small screening here in New York, and we had myself and Don Cheadle and Matt Dillon, a bunch of people standing at the side of the theater as, you know, you go in to see the last 5 minutes because I can't stand to see the rest of the damn thing. So, you know, you just watch the last 5 minutes and the credits roll, and most of the audience stays if you're lucky. Well, on this one occasion, saw this fellow coming out of the audience as soon as the credits started to roll. And I still picture him. He was large and had long blonde hair, I mean, really long, and had a leather jacket on and chains and a shirt open like this, and it wasn't summer. And so he came down. He looked like a biker or something, you know, but really, he's like 6'4", came down, turned the corner, saw Don, saw Matt, saw me, stopped, said, you have something to do with that film? You know, which guys always go, no, they did. But no, I said, yeah, I did. He said, film just changed my life, and turned and walked out, like he was embarrassed by that. And that happened time and time again. I wanted to confuse people. I wanted to go, and that was the construct of it. That's how I made it. I said, oh, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to show you a bunch of things that you can agree with. I'm going to show you stereotypes. And then I'm going to make you laugh at them. I'm going to make you really comfortable because you're in the dark. You can laugh at these people. They're different, right? Asians. They can't fucking drive. We all know this, right? You know, Hispanics all park their cars on the lawn. You know, all these things that we're going to say about people that people of all races and all classes can laugh at. You know, we could feel a dirty secret. Oh, you know, okay, no one saw us. It's okay. And then I'm slowly going to twist you around in your seat. But first I had to make you really comfortable with your preconceptions. And so that's what I did. And it was hard because in doing so, I had to take a lot of shortcuts. So dramatically, I wrote it very differently than I'd write a normal screenplay. But I wanted, by the end of Act 1, for you to feel very comfortable. So that by Act 2, I could twist you around, and by Act 3, you would leave going, what do I know about people? You know, largely because I'll just write about myself. I write about things that I don't have the answers to. If I have the answers, I'm not interested in writing it. And so all those people there, and those were me, were dark pieces of myself that I could dig in and find those pieces of shame. And when I find those, I just like to burrow in and to myself. And then if they affect us, they affect others.
Brilliant.